I love an end of year cinema release. I love going to the movies and sitting down. Christmas time, there's something amazing, something magical in the air. For as long as I can remember, there has been that big release that everyone goes see, a big blockbuster. And Avatar Fire and Ash encapsulates that feeling of just punch the air. I love movies. This film filled me with the power of cinema. Third time round, James Cameron has not missed a beat. I loved this film to the point where I think this might be my favorite Avatar film.
That's interesting
Yeah.
because this is my least. This is my least favorite.
Oh!
I think this is the first time where we actually have a debate, a discussion of some sorts. It's not like a bad movie. It's just my least favorite
Yeah.
in the series so far. I do absolutely love the CGI. I love the characters and the world building still. We previously talked about Avatar, so you want to check them out, do so. So yeah, we're back. We're back into Pandora after 2 years since Avatar 2, and it's a lot nastier than the second one. There's a lot more stakes, there's a lot more villains that we get to explore, a lot more character bonding as well. But yeah, we're back with James Cameron as he's smoking his money away with the box office, projecting to have 300 million.
Deadline said Avatar was set to earn 340 to 380 million at box office opening worldwide. That's a pretty solid opening. It's not quite the splash that the second film made, but also the Avatar films, they have legs. People will see these numerous times. I'm seeing it again tomorrow. I'm seeing it on Screen X. That was not my
Bloody
choice.
Screen X.
Bloody
You can
Screen
have like a
X.
proper wide view. It's just like, wow,
Yeah.
there's two
I can
screens,
see it
three
all.
screens.
I'm not allowed to look to the sides because if I do, I'll see horrific images stretched out. I've got to look directly ahead.
Yeah,
But of
yeah.
course, these films, they make a lot from the 3D uptick, people seeing it in 3D. I genuinely don't know how this one's going to go. I knew a lot of people who went to see Way of Water and didn't like it. And I'm not sure if those people, we're talking casual audience members. I'm not sure if those people would want to come back to see Fire and Ash. I think this is better than Way of Water. So I will be definitely recommending this to everyone. But it's going to be interesting to see how it goes, whether they can kind of knock it out of the park for the third time.
Yeah, James Cameron's like, hey, give me a billion, please. Please give me a billion right now.
2 billion, yeah.
This is the Out of Time Film Podcast, where your hosts Tom and John discuss everything from blockbuster films to TV and games like there's no tomorrow.
Interestingly, Way of Water and Fire and Ash were originally going to be one film. They were originally just going to be Avatar 2, right? They
Right.
split that story into two films. How do you feel?
That makes so much sense because here's my opinion. I don't think they should have split it because I don't care if it's going to be like 9 hours or something. I'm sure I'm already locked in the world of Pandora. But I think if it was one movie, we would have got to explore the Water Tribe and the Ash Tribe, all of those things. There are elements in the third movie that I feel like it was stretched out and it feels very familiar. We're kind of going in the circle in some parts. So yeah, I think it should have been one movie. Give me 4 hours. Yeah, give me 4 hours of that.
I don't think that it should have been one film. I think that two films is the right decision. You would lose a lot if it was one 4 hour piece. I think some people would argue, well, it's fine if we miss that, but I think that all the things that The Way of Water sets up this film, I think, pays off very, very well. I don't think you can just do everything that The Way of Water does in 2 hours, simply. I'm sure there are budding editors out there who could prove me wrong and could make an amazing edit, and I would love to see what that would look like. Maybe it would have been more satisfying, because this film gave me a level of satisfaction that Way of Water didn't. As much as I really enjoyed Way of Water, this one did feel a little bit more like, yeah, okay, now things are getting a little bit more intense. But also, I don't know if that would have been as satisfying if it wasn't for what Way of Water then did. So this one basically picks up with the aftermath of that second film. Neytirum is dead, everybody's grieving, but the Sky People are still trying to build and they're hunting for Jake and his family. And so, once again, things are getting complicated. What I liked a lot about this film is that it's very much about grief and acceptance. Acceptance of your grief, acceptance of your family in many ways. One thing I really liked about this film was how we got a lot more Neytiri. In Way of Water, I thought she had fuck all to do. And so in this one, to kind of see her grappling with her own prejudices against the Sky People, seeing a little bit more of the morally grey of the world, and also getting some kick-ass action as well. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, my other favorites as well. We get to explore the Ash people, the Ash tribe, like this whole new element to the story, which is always exciting when you're exploring a bit of Pandora. You know, you want to explore a bit of the lore, how people on Pandora view Awa. I don't think it's a god, but it's like a celestial being, I think, on the planet that guides the people. Does Awa help? And the Ash people have such a nomadic life. They just see everything as desolate, dark. They want to have power over everything. You know, with fire, because fire is like the only one that resonates with Quaritch as a guy who is obsessed with power as well, through guns, through the military. He wants to control over Pandora. So that was something that I found most intriguing, was the Ash element that got me hooked in. I was like, this is great, because I wanted to see more of that. I wanted something new.
I do think that there are elements of this film that do feel a little bit derivative. I feel especially the third act feels like a culmination of stuff that we've seen before. But I don't mind. I don't think that there isn't nothing new. I think you're ignoring quite a few brilliant things, like the air traders with their massive ships
Yes.
and everything with the Ash tribe, and seeing more of the Sky people and the culture behind them. I thought that was very interesting. You kind of see what social media looks like, I guess, for the Sky people at this time, and
Yeah.
how they treat
Yeah.
their criminals, which I thought was really, really fascinating.
But I do want to say with the Wind Traders, again, I wish we could have seen a bit more of that. I wish there was something interwoven a bit more with the tribes. I mean, there was one element in the story where Spider can breathe on Pandora, which was exciting, but then it just kind of circled back to the second one again, like how Quaritch wanted Spider back, and there was this whole scene about Quaritch being a father. So it's just me that I just think I know too much about Avatar 2, and I love it so much. Yeah, it's just like something
This
like
is
that.
it. We did it. 278 episodes in, and we're having our first major disagreement. I really disagree. I think that, yes, we're treading the path of Way of Water, but I don't think we're moving backwards. I think we're just kind of flowing where logically that story is going to go. That whole plot with Spider, which is in the trailer, I really enjoyed his struggle between human and Na'vi. What are the implications for him being able to breathe for the Sky People and for the Na'vi? If the Sky People could harness that technology, that is devastating. But also, can he be accepted truly by the Sullys? In Way of Water, we see that Neytiri
Yes.
really doesn't like this kid, and that's almost built upon by the fact that he saved Quaritch and Neytiri dies. I was really interested, and there's a scene that really got me, man, and we'll get to that scene, but holy
Okay.
hell, I think the whole thing is really powerful the way that it comes to a head. I think James Cameron has said that this film could serve as a finale if they don't make Avatar 4 and 5. I would be disappointed if this was a finale. I don't think it made me feel complete at the end as much as I
Yes.
enjoyed
Yeah.
it, but I guess it all depends on the numbers. If they make 4 and 5, I really bloody hope they do, but I definitely think that there's definitely a chance that could be in danger. Do you want to see 4 and
Yeah,
5?
hell yeah. I think there's a lot more to explore, maybe with the Sky people, with the Na'vi tribe, everything that's happening, we could explore some really exciting things for the whole universe. I think that would be great. The whole thing with Spider as well, with the identity, I think that was a nice theme all the way through. But then the theme was also explored in Avatar 2, where they were trying to find identity as they relocate to a different place. These are just some of the some of the things that I nitpick. And I want to say, might be controversial for you, Tom. I don't think the film should have been 3 hours, because I don't think the pacing was that good. I don't think the
You
pacing was that good.
what? Maybe I'm blinded by my love here, but I did not think there was a single dull moment. I was
I
locked in.
I felt really like this is kind of going a bit over. I don't know why. It just felt a bit too maybe familiar or too convoluted, maybe for me. I don't know. Just see the movie for yourself, guys. Just don't listen to it.
Well, the difference for me between Way of Water and Fire of an Ash is the Way of Water, the Quaritch storyline was much less intriguing because so much of it does parallel Jake's journey in the first film. I like that. I think that's very deliberate, but I definitely was a little bit like, "Ugh." But then when you compare it to Fire and Ash, what happens with Quaritch there is so fascinating with the Fire people, with Varang, who is the head of the Ash tribe, and she's mental. I loved her as a villain. It's great to have a different villain
She's
who
great.
isn't just,
Absolutely
yeah,
loved her.
fantastic. You get to have both. You get to have the human villains and now for the first time Na'vi villains. And I loved how creepy their whole thing was, as you were saying earlier.
And
But
the
let's get
first
into...
time introducing drugs as well to the story, like the Na'vi are
Yes!
just, hallucinating. Oh my God, with the shrooms are too
Yes.
crazy.
But I think this is a good chance to get into spoilers.
Yes,
Because
good
jumping
idea.
off talking about Quaritch, I love what they do with Quaritch in this film. This idea, and Jake says it to him numerous times throughout the film, like, what are you standing for at this point? He's obviously very clearly very invested in the well-being of Spider, somebody who prefers the Na'vi lifestyle to the human one, and doesn't even see himself as Quaritch's son. And as we see in Way of Water and even further in this film, Quaritch is kind of enjoying being a Na'vi, getting his Banshee and flying around. And in this film, he really is seduced by the idea of the Ash tribe and like their culture and painting himself. And him and Varang have some horny interactions. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
They
When
they were freaky. They were freaky.
they
They were
really
like
were quite a couple scenes where it's like, do we need to leave? Do you guys need to have a private moment? I was like,
yeah.
whoa.
Quaritch was more of a active character, I'd say, in this one. The second one, it was a little bit forced into the story, but this one, he can be proactive as a character in the story, like really caring for
Yeah.
Spider, as you said.
Way of Water does all the heavy lifting of the setup. It does well, we've brought him back now, so we can move forward with that rather than have to deal with
Yes,
him coming back.
yes.
Do you think he's dead?
No, I don't
There's
think he's
no
dead.
way. There's no way
There's
he's
no
dead.
way. He just jumps off and he's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
I think Varong caught him or something because she's also
yeah,
alive. I appreciate they essentially kept the villains alive. The reason why this doesn't feel like it's a finale is because the Sky People are still there. The problem still persists. In this film, we see that their city, it's a city now. It's not just like a military base. They are building this whole thing and their technology is
yeah.
getting wider and further. And I loved seeing that. Like, that was so great. When they arrest Jake, you see how far they're coming. They got a bloody burger place. They got social media going out.
It,
Like it's that they are
the
colonizing.
It really reminded me of Final Fantasy VII
Right.
Midgard. The whole city that feels so industrial and so
Yeah.
smoky and so crowded. And
It's
that's
awful.
obviously telling about people on Earth. We destroyed Earth, how
Hmm.
this
Hmm.
all came down to be. And it's obviously telling what it's going to be like if they continue doing that for that city alone to be expanded across Pandora.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
get to see
yeah.
that. That's really great. Okay, so now the scene. So, as regular listeners will know, as you definitely know, John, I don't cry at movies, and the list of movies that I've cried at are very short.
Did
But
you cry at the end?
I did not cry at the end, but you can add Avatar Fire and Ash to that list because the scene where Jake and Neytiri decide that they need to kill Spider. Oh my God. Oh my God. I wept. I was so because genuinely the peril that I felt in that moment, I really believed that it could happen. And the way that it happens as well, with Neytiri washing off the red paint that obviously, she sees his blood on her hands, and Spider accepting that this is what needs to happen for the greater good and saying, "Do you still love me?" And Jake saying, "I love you so much." Oh my God. Oh my God. That is so powerful. That right there was maybe some of the most powerful storytelling in Avatar in the whole trilogy. That made me feel more than anything in Way of Water. I was so moved by it. And then for their decision to not kill him, say, nah, fuck that. We're gonna, this is our son. And for Neytiri to finally say, I see you to this human child that she's been neglecting for 2 films. Come on, man. That was amazing. And,
It is a great scene. It is a great scene. It is a great
yes!
scene.
If it wasn't for 2 films of setting this up for all this time and developing this, I wouldn't have felt that way. This film had some of the most emotional scenes. There's another scene as well where Loak tries to kill himself, or almost
Yeah,
does. And it just
yeah,
broke me, man. His whole arc as well, like feeling guilt and blaming himself for Neytirim's death, and Jake admitting that he also blamed Loak for his death. I was just floored by that whole breakdown of grief, the way that we confront it. It was like, shit,
yeah.
this is real. Like, this film is still PG-13, 12A, but they really don't pull back with how hard-hitting it can be. And
Yes.
I loved it. I really
Yeah.
did. I really
What was fun?
did.
What's so funny? I got the emotional side of stuff from two. Like that's the opposite to me. Like that's how
Oh,
them as a family all together. That really struck me. I think this one. I need to give it a rewatch if I'm feeling a bit like,
on
like a
Screen
bit like
X.
yes, on Screen X, so I could see everything. But no, I think, yeah, there were some really hard hitting scenes. I think the last one was really nice for Spider to have acceptance, to be greeted by the ghosts of Pandora. I think it's
Yes.
like everyone's like, you're part of this, part of this world now. And that's really fitting to have that ending for that arc, really, because it does feel like an
Yeah.
arc from 2 to 3. That I think that's a really nice arc to see how Spider grows up in this world.
I love that James Cameron always says, I've only got like 2 or 3 ideas and I keep on reusing them. Because the end of this film is the end of Titanic. I just love that it
It
was like
is.
coming
It
back
really
to everyone.
is.
They're like, "Hey, welcome." Yeah,
Hey,
I
welcome
enjoyed
back,
it.
everybody.
Yay!
James Cameron loves to film everything on ships, right? You know, like with
Yes.
Titanic,
Yeah, yeah,
everything.
yeah.
You know, like with Avatar 2, they fought on the ship. In
Yeah,
Avatar 3,
yeah.
they fought on the ship. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So he likes
Yeah.
ships. He likes ships. He loves
Yeah, I
them.
definitely think that is my one big thing. The third act, it didn't underwhelm me. I was just kind of like, yeah, cool. The third act is if you take the third act of Avatar and the third act of Way of Water and you just kind of did that and then more. It's the classic, Jake, I've got your son, Jake. I know you're out there, Jake. I've got your kid. Like we did that again and we
Do
see
you
the
want a
whales
burger,
again.
Jake? Do you want a burger?
I can get you a burger, Jake. They do that again. The bit that I did love was the fight between Quaritch and Jake with the big magnetic field sucking everything up and Spider
That
trying
was
to.
so cool.
That
I
was
love
amazing
that.
because
That was
that
so
veered off
cool.
differently. And so moving forward, if we do see 4 and 5, I agree with you in the sense that I want to see something different in the finale. But really, it is complaining that James Cameron has made yet another delicious, nutritious meal. A
And it's a good
succulent.
movie. Yes, a
Yeah,
succulent
right?
meal. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, and cinema is important. We are living in an age where every moment it seems like cinema is dying and that streaming is more and more being prioritized, and that what cinema we do have, what blockbusters we do have, key jangling. Yes, everyone, we saw the frickin' Steve Rogers Avengers Doomsday teaser on the big screen, and I felt nothing.
It was just
It
nothing
was, it
really.
really was.
I was like, that's it? That's it,
Yeah,
really?
right?
Like,
Ugh.
you gotta do a bit more than that.
What a pathetic attempt at drumming up hype. The implications for what that means, god damn, we don't. This video isn't about that, but just
No, sorry, we're talking about Avatar.
cinema. Cinema sometimes can seem dire, but this film right here, I whooped. You know when Neytiri had the arrows with the bazooka heads on them, and she was just
Yeah.
flying throughout the city, blowing shit up. I just went woo because I was just thrilled at what I was watching, and that's it. That's what it's all about. The power of cinema. This film didn't get me invested because it brought back. Oh my God!
Mm.
It brought back Giovanni Ribisi from the first movie. No, that's not what it's about. It's about feeling the emotions and wanting to see the next chapter with these characters. They didn't bring back Neytiri from the dead. They didn't ruin the other films in order to get me invested. They crafted a story and continued the journey of people I was genuinely invested in. And I goddamn hope that Sam Wilson's Captain America is not under prioritized for Steve Rogers returning, but we shall see.
Yes.
I love movies. I love the cinema. I love watching Avatar in 3D.
Yeah, Avatar
It's
in 3D
great.
rules.
It's great.
It rules.
Yeah.
It rules. Yeah, see this movie when you can.
Yeah.
I think it's a proper treat for your eyes. By the way, the thing that blew me away is like how they done the lighting in this
Yeah.
movie.
What?
Excuse me.
How? How does it look
How?
that good?
How did it? How
Genuinely.
did they make this in Blender in Unreal Engine 5 or something?
Yeah.
Like the way the lighting just hits on the actors or the performance, like
Amazing.
that much rendering on that.
Much rendering.
With much rendering, like 12 hours to render
Yeah,
that one piece of light.
genuinely.
Wow.
That's what I think it is. I think it's time. The time and dedication, you can feel it. I'm
Blown
cinema.
away.
I
Yeah.
am blown away. I really am. I'm just so happy that this film exists. Definitely go and see it. It's just a lovely Christmas treat.
Yeah, go for it.
And what are you going to give it out of 10?
An 8.
Nice. I'm going to give it a 9. It's weird that we disagreed so much when we're actually quite close in our
Because
estimations.
these are like small nitpicks that I
Yes,
have.
of
'cause
course, of course.
all of that. So yeah.
Here's my biggest nitpick. They didn't bring back Lego Avatar for another wave. I want my Lego Varang. What do you
Imagine
say?
they do like
Oh.
an 18 plus UCS set for something. I don't know.
Oh.
What would it be? What
Yeah.
would it be though?
Like one of the big mountains, maybe. Maybe it's like
I'm thinking the tree.
maybe it's one of those sets that has a bit of everything. So maybe it's got like 4 points, and 1 point's the Sky People City, 1 point's the forest, 1 point's the water, 1 point's the ash. Lego, get me on the phone right now. I have a pitch.
I'm a designer, Lego. Please hire me.
Thank you everybody for listening. If you're listening on YouTube and you liked it, you can like and subscribe if you want to see more. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple, you can follow and give us a 5-star review if you think we're worthy. And next week, well, 2025 is up. So, you know what time it is, John? It will be
I know.
time for us to discuss our top 5 favorite films of the year. And boy, I got a good list.
Oh boy, I'm gonna bring out the Pepsi Max and we'll cheers as we talk about any movie that we just loved this year.
Dilly
Yeah.
dilly.
Dilly dilly.
And you can send us an email at outoftimefilmpod@gmail.com. Let us know your thoughts. Tell us what films you loved this year, and we'll answer it right here on the podcast next week.
Yes, and you can follow us on Instagram at Out of Time Film Pod to see our incredible thumbnails from Zain, on Twitter for more thoughts from Tom and me, and TikTok to see edited clips, which are all also on Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts, and you can find links to that all in the description below. Thanks to Elle for the excellent theme, and Ronan for focus as always. I think that's everything. Take what we're given.
Give them back.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.